June 14th, 1942, 3:17 a.m. The black waters off Amagansett Beach, Long Island. U-boat U-202 slices silently through the Atlantic swell, its deck slick with salt spray, as 8 German saboteurs, trained commandos in civilian clothes, clamber down into rubber rafts loaded with dynamite, fuses, and forged American IDs. Richard Queering grips the raft's edge, heart pounding against the roar of waves crashing nearby, his wetsuit clinging like a second skin under the faint moonlight. They vanish into the surf, paddling toward the shadowed dunes, feet silent on the sand as they bury their gear and melt into the night Hitler's first strike on American soil. A secret dagger aimed at the heart of U.S. industry. You can almost taste the brine in the air. Feel the cold Atlantic gnaw at their bones as those rafts scrape ashore. These weren't foot soldiers. They were Abwehr elites, George Dasch, Peter Berger, Werner Thiel, handpicked by Admiral Canaris himself, drilled for months in Quedlinburg's sabotage school on how to weld bombs to Hoover Dam's turbines, torch Cincinnati's aluminum plants, derail Hellgate Bridge's rails. Each man carries 50 pounds of explosives in waterproof crates. Their mission code named Operation Pastorius, after the first German settler in America, a twisted nod to claiming the continent back. Fog shrouds their steps as they trek inland, hearts racing at every snap of a twig, civilians asleep in nearby cottages, oblivious to the enemy in their midst. By dawn, they've cached their gear under beach dunes marked with hidden signs, splitting into teams. 4 head for New York, 4 for Florida. Dasch, the leader with a gambler's charm and a nagging doubt, boards a train from Long Island, suitcase heavy with $80,000 in cash $20 bills crisp from the Reichsbank. He stares out at passing farms, the vast American heartland unspooling like a promise of vulnerability. Hitler himself approved this, raging in the Wolf's Lair about Roosevelt's arsenal of democracy, fueling the Allied war machine. America must burn from within, he'd snarled to his generals. But as the train rattles south, Dasch feels the weight of betrayal brewing, not to the fatherland, but to the cause. One wrong move, and they're ghosts no more. The Florida team fares worse. U-584 surfaces off Ponte Vedra Beach 4 days later, June 17th, dumping Edward Curling's group into a thunderstorm. Lightning cracks the sky as they paddle through riptides, drenched and cursing, burying their crates amid palm fronds. Curling, a wiry ex-U-boat mechanic from Chicago with perfect English, leads them toward Niagara Falls power plants next. They hitchhike, blend into crowds, baseball fans streaming to Ebbets Field, oblivious. Yet whispers of fear ripple, FBI posters everywhere, blacked-out coasts patrolled by spotters. How long before some beachcomber stumbles on their buried bombs? In Berlin, optimism crackles through OKW briefings. Canaris briefs Hitler. These men will cripple production aluminum for Spitfires, power for tanks. Chaos without a single Wehrmacht boot on soil. Maps unroll showing targets. New York subways, Philadelphia waterworks, Chicago cryolite plants essential for magnesium. No invasion fleets needed, just precision terror to paralyze the giant awakening across the ocean. But as the saboteurs scatter into America's vastness, a single thread unravels it all. Dasch, conscience cracking under the democratic air he's breathing, pens a note in his hotel room. By June 19th, he's in Washington, D.C., slipping into the FBI's New York field office, whispering to Special Agent Dwayne Traynor, "I have information about enemies landing from submarines." What happens when your own man turns the plot inside out? Agent Traynor's eyes widen as Dasch spills it all in that dim FBI office names. Landing sites, buried explosives ticking like forgotten clocks under Long Island sand. 8 of us, Dasch breathes, voice low and urgent, sweat beading on his brow despite the air-conditioned chill. Trained killers from the Abwehr. Dynamite for factories, Death to the war effort. Trainer grabs the phone. J. Edgar Hoover himself, barking orders from D.C. by noon. Full alert, no leaks, scoop them up before they light the fuses. Dash, playing double agent now, dangles bait phone the others, lure them into the trap. You can hear the click of rotary dials echoing in stale hotel rooms, promises of rendezvous masking the noose tightening. Curling's team scatters across the Midwest, blending into rail yards and diners smelling of fried eggs and coffee. They case Cincinnati's plants, sketches and notebooks showing turbine weak points, but doubt creeps in America's too big, too alive. Factories hum 24/7, lights blazing despite blackouts, workers churning out B-17s like clockwork. Meanwhile, Quirin and his New York cell hole up in Yorkville's German enclaves, beer halls buzzing with expat whispers. They sip steins, eyes darting at every cop car, fuses itching in their luggage. But Dash's calls work their poison. Berger folds first, then Thiel, picked up in a Times Square sting that reeks of cigarette smoke and fear. Hoover's G-men swarm like hornets raids at 2 a.m. Doors kicked in, saboteurs dragged from beds in their underwear, hands cuffed behind backs, slick with panic. By June 27th, all 8 are in chains, their $175,000 war chest seized, explosives unearthed from dunes now steaming in the sun. Headlines scream, Nazi saboteurs caught. But the spin quiets fast no panic, just resolve hardening across the nation. Roosevelt fumes in the Oval Office, pounding his desk. Execute them. Make examples. A military tribunal convenes in secret at Arlington's Justice Department. Windowless rooms thick with cigar haze. Prosecutors laying out charges like dissected bombs. Sabotage, espionage, waging war on U.S. soil. The trials blaze through July. Defendants in ill-fitting suits protesting in broken English, Ash and Berger pleading for mercy as turncoats. Evidence piles high U-boat logs, forged passports, demo kits that could level bridges. Hitler rages in Rastenburg. Canaris's sabotage chief Walther Kapp sweating under the Führer's glare. Idiots! Cowards! But across the ocean, the noose swings. 6 condemned Quirin, curling. The Loyalists marched D.C. as electric chair on August 8th. Hoods dropped over faces as 2,300 volts coursed through. Dash and Berger get life, shipped to hellish prisons, their betrayal sealing the operation's grave. America shrugs it off, factories roaring louder, but the ghosts linger. What if they hadn't turned? Did one man's conscience just save the sleeping giant? Smoke curls from the electric chair's vents in that sweltering D.C. basement. The 6 saboteurs' bodies slumping lifeless as guards haul them away. Boots echoing on concrete. Word filters back to Berlin via clandestine radio bursts Operation Pastorius. Hitler's precision scalpel lies in ruins, its blade turned by traitors. Canaris paces Abwehr halls, maps of American targets curling in frustration. Hellgate Bridge untouched, Hoover Dam humming, aluminum rivers flowing unchecked to Allied bombers. But the Führer doesn't blink. Pastorius was a probe. He snarls to Dunitz in the wolf's lair, fists slamming oak. America bleeds from submarines now. U-boats will starve her. You feel the chill of that pivot. The ocean itself becomes the battlefield. Across the Atlantic, wolfpacks prowl. February 1942, U-402 stalks, convoy on 67 off North Carolina. Torpedoes ripping tanker, torpedoes ripping into the SS David H. Atwater, flames blooming orange against midnight waves, 14 sailors lost to the sharks. Donitz unleashes 250 U-boats on the U.S. East Coast. Operation Drumbeat, exploiting blackout blunders, coastal cities glowing like beacons. New Yorkers gawk from Coney Island piers as ships burn 20 miles offshore. Oil slicks fouling beaches, wreckage washing up with dog tags glinting in surf. Hitler dreams bigger, not just sinkings, but invasion whispers. His planners in Akui dust off Operation Sea Lion echoes, sketching Fall Grun, a mad scheme for 12 divisions airlifted to Long Island. Ru-52s ferrying stormtroopers to seize New York, panzers rolling from captured ports. General Alfred Jodl pores over blueprints in dim-lit Berlin bunkers, pins marking beachheads from Cape Cod to Chesapeake Bay. America's army is a paper tiger few divisions, raw recruits, he briefs Hitler, who nods, eyes alight. Bombers from carriers soften defenses, then Fallschirmjäger drop on Manhattan. Roosevelt sues for peace in weeks. Propaganda reels spin fantasies, newsreels of U-boat aces, Amerika-Bomber prototypes straining on runways, promising fire from Iceland bases, yet cracks show. Recon flights by FW-200 Condors snap photos of endless shipyards Newport News churning destroyers. Brooklyn Navy Yard a hive, but miss the giant stirring. U.S. production ramping, ship welders fusing hulls overnight. By summer 42, drumbeat falters. Rosie the Riveter floods yards. Convoy tricks baffle wolves, hedgehogs, exploding hulls. Hunter-killers hunting back. Hitler fumes as losses mount. U-576 dives forever off Cape Hatteras after depth charges churn the sea white. In occupied France, engineers eye massive America Rakuten A9V2, variants for New York transatlantic strikes, but fuel shortages doom them. Whispers of grander plots emerge. Japanese allies probing from the Pacific, German agents scouting Panama Canal weak points with nitroglycerin dreams. Was Pastorius just the feint, the U-boats the hammer, and something darker brewing? What if the wolfpack wasn't bleeding America, but luring her into the trap? Depth charges bloom like deadly flowers off Oregon's jagged coast. July 1942 U-564's periscope glints in the dawn haze as it unloads shells onto the Fort Stevens battery. First enemy fire on the continental U.S. since 1812. Captain Reinhard Surin's crew cheers from the conning tower. 17 rounds cratering dunes. But no invasion follows. Just a feint, a bloody nose to test Yankee nerves. Hitler seethes over reports in Rustenburg. America cowers behind oceans, but Japan will crack her open. You sense the desperation in those teletypes Pastorius flopped, drumbeats stalled by convoy escorts shredding wolfpacks. Now eyes turn east where Tojo's carriers raid the Aleutians, a stepping stone to Alaska's frozen shores. From Tokyo's Imperial HQ, Admiral Yamamoto whispers of Operation K, not just midway revenge, but a pincer with Berlin. Attu and Kiska fall to Japanese Marines in June fog, 2,500 troops digging in amid howling winds, foxholes lashed by 100 mph gales. Hitler grins at the newsreels. Our ally carves the backdoor U-boats from Norway to Greenland, Japs from Alaska, then paratroops on Seattle. OKW fever dreams amplify it. Messerschmitt staging from captured Aleutian strips, bombing San Francisco's Golden Gate, panzers unloaded via submarine tenders into Puget Sound. General Franz Halder's old notes resurface. America's west coast undefended, militia-only fueling fantasies of 500,000 troops flooding south, linking with Pastorius-style saboteurs torching oil fields. But reality bites like Arctic ice. U.S. codebreakers crack Japanese signals. Ninth Army thaws Attu in May 43 with 15,000 G is clawing up sheer cliffs, bayonets flashing in sleet, reclaiming it in the war's bloodiest battle per man. Kiska's garrison evaporates into mist ghost bases empty. Hitler pounds tables. Betrayal. Japan falters while we bleed in Russia. Desperation births Amerika-Bomber 2 Heinkel. He 277 prototypes groaning on test flights. 6,000-mile range for Manhattan firestorms. But Me 262 jet escorts undelivered, alloys scarce. Agents slip into New York via neutral ships, plotting canal bombs anew. while V-2 Whispers evolve into a 10-missile fever liquid fuel dreams for transatlantic hell. Across the Pacific, whispers of German advisors and Tokyo technicians tweaking Zero fighters with BMW engines, sharing Enigma-resistant codes. Roosevelt's war room buzzes with intercepts. Hitler eyes our hemisphere. Yet U-boats rot on Atlantic floors. 783 sunk by 45, aces like preen, long fish food. Was the real invasion not boots, but subversion agents? Bombs, U-boat shadows, converging on the sleeping giant's flanks? One leaked memo changes everything. What if Japan wasn't the pawn, but the key? Type Continue to generate the next section. Continue Section 5. The Ghost Fleet Rises. A leaked OKW memo crackles across encrypted channels from Berlin to Buenos Aires. October 1943 intercepted by Bletchley Park codebreakers. Its ink barely dry. America Program Phase 2. U-cruiser squadrons stage from Greenland ice. Link Aleutian bridgehead for coastal assault. You feel the tremor in those words. The Führer's fevered scrawl envisioning ghost fleets. Massive Type 11 U-cruisers, 400 feet long. Catapults launching Arado floatplanes over Manhattan. 28-inch guns shelling the battery as SS Panzers disgorge from hidden bays. Admiral Dunnett's briefs in the Führer bunker. Salt-crusted models on the table. No need for Atlantic crossing fleets, just leapfrog from subs to captured ports. Roosevelt's Navy spread thin chasing Yamamoto. Hitler's eyes gleam under flickering bulbs. Pastorius lit the fuse. Drumbeat the fire. Japan the anvil now, the hammer falls. Engineers in Kiel slave over prototypes. U-505's capture by U.S. hunters yield secrets. But Berlin counters with snorkel tech. Wolfpacks reforming off Nova Scotia. Seeding agents ashore with rubber boats packed with SC-250 bombs for Philly shipyards. From Norway's fjords, Prince Eugene heavy cruisers prowl, disguised as merchantmen. Radar evading patrols, while V-1 buzz bombs test fire toward Iceland relays. Propaganda Minister Goebbels spins reels. The Yankee giant stirs, but our steel awaits in the fog. Spies in Montreal relay rail maps endless freights, rape for derailment. Cryolite mines for aluminum sabotage echoing Pastorius ghosts. Yet the cracks spiderweb. U.S. shipyards birth 7 carriers a month. Liberty ships flooding seas like ants. Task Force 38 steamrolls, Aleutians clean. Enigma breaks flood Hoover's desk with plots. In a Hamburg warehouse, Amerika-Bomber He-177 crashes on maiden flight. Prototype flames claiming engineers Hitler's rage shatters glass. Cowards delay my victory. Japanese envoys in Berlin squirm. Midway lost, Guadalcanal a meat grinder, no backdoor left. Desperate bids emerge. Balloon bombs from Honshu floating over Oregon forests, igniting wildfires. Microsubs I-400 carriers prepping Panama Canal strikes. German tech fused in. But losses mount U-853 rammed off Maine. Aces drowning in iron coffins. America hardens. Blackout drills grip coasts. Spotter towers bristle dunes. G is drill beach assaults from Long Island to Long Beach. Roosevelt addresses Congress. Voice iron. No invader treads our soil. Was the invasion never armies, but this web of shadow subs, saboteurs, schemes converging like storm clouds? One final gambit from the Führer's lair. What if the skies themselves opened the door? January 1944. Peenemoon's frozen rocket pads shudder under test blasts. V-2 South screaming skyward in plumes of flame that light the Baltic night like false dawns. Werner von Braun briefs Hitler via teletype from the Wolf's lair. America rocketin' ready Silbervogel gliding bombs. 3,000 miles to New York. Payloads to raise Wall Street. You hear the howl of those prototypes. Wind tunnel shrieks in Rechlin Labs, where Messerschmitt Messer-64 6-engined behemoths strain against chains. Diesel hearts pounding for the transatlantic dash. Führer rants to Gring. Pastorius pricked, U-boats bled, Japan cracked, but skies will deliver the Reichsfist. Carpet Manhattan in phosphorus. Force surrender before Normandy steals our thunder. OKW war rooms unroll charts. Iceland as forward base. Captured from British garrisons in fever dream ops. Ru 390 Orly Eagles staging raids with 20-ton bomb loads. Recon condors buzz Newfoundland, snapping endless Essex-class carriers steaming from Groton yards. Too many, too fast. Yet Hitler gobbles down. Fern bomber squadrons from Azores. 5-to-1 swarms launched from U-boat decks off Cape Race. Spies in Boston wire weak points hydro plants, radio towers, while balloon-launched drones test fire over Labrador ice. Goebbels reels hype, Eisenhower from the ether, crowds roaring in Munich squares as models arc toward mock Yankee skylines. Desperation flavors it. Alloys rationed for Stalingrad ghosts, fuel siphoned from Ardennes tanks. But the skies betray. B-29 Superforts already pound Reich factories from Saipan. Yanks leaping the Pacific Gap. Japan couldn't close. He 177 grief. Crashes again. Fire demons claiming air crews. Me-264's maiden to New York aborts over the Azores. Engines starved. Donitz pleads. U-boats at 40% strength. Drumbeat's pyre consumed them. Roosevelt's fireside chats steel spines. Hungry wolves circle. But our arsenal awakens. Agents rounded up in Chicago safe houses. Nitroglycerin plots fizzled by double agents. Von Braun's rockets hit London. Not Liberty Londoners huddle as skies rain hell, buying America time. By D-Day's roar, invasion dreams curdle. Panzers grind Normandy mud, not Long Island sands. B-17 swarms blacken Berlin, not the reverse. Hitler's final maps gather dustfall grun aborted. America forgotten amid suicide bids. Was it all smoke? Saboteurs and subs mere feints for the real storm that never broke? The giant yawns awake. Normandy's blood-soaked beaches churn under Allied boots. June 6th. 1944 Omaha's waves crash red as G is claw up cliffs, but across the ocean. Hitler's America maps yellow in bunker damp, gathering dust beside shattered crystal glasses. You smell the cordite tang from those failed skies. Feel the Reich's architects crumbling as B-24s darken Ruhr valleys, pounding U-boat pens into rubble. Donitz cables fury. Wolfpacks at 20% drumbeats embers. Pastorius' farce, all for nothing. Hitler, trembling in Rastenburg twilight, clutches a final directive to Ribbentrop. Agents in Argentina, Mexico terrorizings from shadows. America invades us. We haunt her. But the house always wins. Factories in Detroit roar like thunder gods. 300,000 planes birthed by 45. Liberty hulls plugging every torpedo hole tenfold. America's counterpunch lands like a hammer. Task Force 58 carriers steam unmolested. Hellcats shredding any Condor scouts bold enough to peek. FBI nets tighten Yorkville beer halls raided. Sleeper cells in Buffalo, busted with garage bombs meant for rail hubs. Roosevelt wheels to Congress, voice gravel. They came as ghosts. We forge steel legions. Ship welders in Pascagoula fuse plates through hurricanes. Rosy riveting B-29s that leapfrog to Tokyo. Flames rivaling any America dream. Japan's Aleutian pawns retaken. Panama locks triple guarded. Greenland ice bases scouted by PBY. Catalinas dropping seismic charges. Hitler's whispers fade to screams as Ardennes snow reddens bulge offensive bleeds panzers dry, no transatlantic leap left. In Berlin's zoo flak towers, civilians huddle as Lancasters rain 8,000-pound tallboys. But Yankee bombers hold back, saving fuel for the Pacific Inferno. Agents' radios go silent, captured in Miami dives, clutching faded Pastorius orders. Von Braun's rockets veer to vengeance weapons on London, not Liberty Antwerp harbors cratered instead. By Yalta's smoke-filled rooms, the plot unravels. No invasion fleets massed, just desperate V-1 launches from French cliffs falling short of Dover, let alone Delaware. America, pricked by saboteurs and subs, swells into Colossus 18 million under arms, production eclipsing Axis empires combined. The failed invasions? Not boots on beaches, but a symphony of sabotage, shadows, and hubris, each note fueling the giant's roar. One last gasp from the bunker. Does the Führer glimpse his folly as panzers rust? April 29, 1945. Berlin's Reich Chancellery bunker. Air thick with diesel fumes and despair. Concrete walls trembling from Soviet 152mm shells, cratering the tear garden above. Adolf Hitler hunches over a scarred oak table. Yellowed maps of Long Island beachheads curling at edges. America rocket and sketches smeared with coffee rings, ghosts of Pastorius rafts, U-boat wolfpacks. Aleutian pawns all reduced to ash in his trembling fists. You hear the distant rumble of T-34 tracks grinding Potsdamer Platz. Feel the Führer's breath rasp as he scrawls his last testament. The Jewish Bolshevik plot against America failed. Our agents sowed the seeds. But doubt gnaws Dinitz's final teletype lies unread. U-boat fleet annihilated. 1,170 sunk. No transatlantic bridge. In flickering candlelight, aides whisper of the grand designs undone. Quedlinburg's sabotage school razed by Lancasters. Kiel's U-cruiser cradles empty. Peenemünde a radioactive scar from Allied raids. Goebbels clutches newsreels of burning New York that never were. His voice cracking. The Yankee giant slumbered through our finest hours drumbeat, sank 500 hulls. Saboteurs buried death under dunes, yet awoke invincible. Hitler nods, eyes vacant, replaying the feints. Fort Stevens shells unanswered. Balloon bombs fizzing over Montana pines. I-400 subcarriers rotting in Tokyo bays. No panzers on Pennsylvania Avenue. No Fallschirmjäger draping the Statue of Liberty. Just FBI vaults stuffed with seized dynamite, turncoats like Daesh rotting in Terre Haute cells. Outside, Red Army floodlights sweep rubble, Aleutians droning overhead like vultures. The Führer rises, cyanide vial glinting, Eva Braun's hand pale in his. They came for invasion, he mutters to the void, but America invaded us with factories. A single shot echoes at 3:30 p.m. April 30th, bodies charred in the garden as Zhukov's vanguard breaches the gates. Ribbentrop's Argentine escape hatches fizzle-prone shelter stragglers, but no revenge fleets sail from Patagonia ports. Roosevelt, dead weeks prior, misses V-Day's ticker tape. Truman drops atomic fire on Japan. The Pacific mirage incinerated in mushroom clouds over Hiroshima. The untold story? Not failed landings, but a war of Shadow's 8 saboteurs paddling into history's largest blunder. U-boats as bait for the arsenal's fury. Hitler gambled oceans. America built bridges of steel over them. Europe crumbles, but the U.S. stands unscathed, Colossus unchallenged. One final revelation from the ashes. Did the ghosts win after all? Soviet boots crunch over Berlin's rubble. May 2nd, 1945 Zhukov scouts unearth the four bunkers map room. America sketches fluttering like dead leaves in the draft. Pins marking phantom beachheads from Montauk to Miami. You taste the acrid soot of charred blueprints. Hear the ghosts of Pastorius whispers echoing in the vents. Dynamite crates rotting under Long Island dunes. U-boat aces screams bubbling from Atlantic graves. No invasion fleets ever formed. No panzers rumbled up Broadway. Just a tapestry of feints. Saboteurs turned informants. Wolfpacks lured to slaughter by convoy baits. Daesh, the traitor who broke it all, languishes in federal lockup, his confession tapes gathering dust in FBI vaults. A single conscience dooming Hitler's continental dream. Across the ocean, America celebrates V-Day in Times Square confetti storms. Rosie the Riveter kissing sailors under unbound skies. Shipyards that drumbeat scarred pump-out victory parades, 297,000 planes, 86,000 tanks, the arsenal dwarfing Axis steel. Roosevelt's fireside ghost lingers in Truman's war room. They probed our flanks, but we forged the hammer. Japanese holdouts in Aleutian foxholes surrendered to empty winds. I-400 subcarriers scuttled in Tokyo harbors. Their America Tech blueprints pulped by defeat. Von Braun, rocket father, defects to Uncle Sam. His V-2 South reborn as Redstone Booster's irony's cruel pivot. Nazi skies fueling Yankee stars. Yet shadows persist. Post-war whispers from declassified OKW files. Fall Grun drafts for 12 divisions air dropped on New York. Ru-52 swarms from Iceland never launched. 10 transatlantic missiles starved of fuel amid Stalingrad's pyre. Argentina's Raplin's ferry straddlers ex-Abwehr, plotting from Buenos Aires cafes, but Perrin's welcome chills with Cold War chill. America, pricked but unbroken, pivots to Pacific fire, atomic balloons over Hiroshima erasing Aleutian mirages. The failed invasions? A Führer's fevered hallucination. 8 rubber rafts birthing the giant's full roar factories as fortresses, oceans as moats no U-boat pierced. Did the ghosts lose, or forge the colossus in their failure? Times Square erupts in joyous chaos. August 14th, 1945 V.J. Day horns blare as sailors hoist nurses skyward, confetti blanketing streets unscarred by V-2 fire or Amerika-Bombers. The Colossus triumphant without a single enemy boot scarring its soil. You feel the electric pulse of victory, parades marching past shipyards that outbuilt empires. Rosie riveting the final rivet on a victory ship steaming to Tokyo Bay. Hitler's ghost fleets, Pastorius rafts swallowed by dunes, U-boats rusting in 20,000 fathoms. Aleutian pawns frozen in defeat dissolve into history's footnotes, their failure the forge that tempered America's steel. Truman's Oval Office desk bears no invasion scars, just atomic briefings that ended the Pacific nightmare. Japan couldn't open for the Reich. Declassified vaults spill secrets decades later. OKW's America Directive files yellowing in National Archives, detailing aborted Ru-390 raids from Azores shadows. 5-1 catapults dreamed for U-boat decks off Halifax. Dosh, paroled in 1950 after spilling Abwehr guts, fades into anonymity, a conscience that unraveled the Führer's transatlantic fever. Von Braun's rockets lift Eisenhower's satellites. Nazi ingenuity flipped to stars and stripes banners. Argentina's Nazi exiles plot in Pampa's hideouts, but Cold War hunters Simon Wiesenthal's nets drag them to tribunals. No revenge armadas sailing from Patagonia mists. U.S. coasts, once blackout beacons for drumbeat wolves, bristle with radar towers birthing NORAD vigilance. The untold truth? No grand invasions planned, just a desperate mosaic of sabotage stings, submarine skirmishes, and ally mirages, each failure awakening the sleeping giant faster. Hitler gambled shadows against factories. America bet steel and won the pot. 8 saboteurs paddling into infamy sparked the arsenal's roar, ensuring no swastika flew over the capital. Europe lay prostrate, Asia in atomic ash, but the U.S. emerged unscathed. Colossus Ocean's eternal moats, production the unbreachable wall. In the end, the ghosts didn't invade. They forged the victor.